Entropia Universe offers a variety of activities and professions. I've shown you how to hunt, so now I'm going to show you how to mine. Before we can get started, we need to purchase some mining equipment from the trade terminal. Open the trade terminal. The mining equipment can be found under the Tools section and then in Mining. For this guide, I will be demonstrating N-matter mining. To achieve this, we need to buy N-matter mining equipment. Alternatively, you can mine for ores, which you will also need specialized equipment for. We're going to drag the N-matter mining equipment into the purchase item box,
Join a society
like so.
or create a unique one of your own.
First, we need the detectonator. This will allow us to drop the survey probes and find resources underground. If and when we find resources, we will need something to extract them. Here's the N-matter extractor. We need to purchase one of those. For us to effectively mine, we need to purchase survey probes. We need to scroll down past the seismic bombs, which are for ore mining, and select the survey probes. I'm going to take out 50 PED worth of probes with me. With that purchased, we could now go mining. However, it is advisable to purchase armour before mining. I purchased my armour quite some time ago, so there was no need for me to purchase some more. You can see this armour in my inventory. I select the armour section. Here it is. This armour is Goblin armour. It's one of the best newbie armours that you can possibly buy. It protects just enough while not costing too much to repair. Here you can see there are 6 different pieces: arms, thighs, harness, shins, face and gloves. That's the maximum number of armour pieces a set can have. To equip the armour is just like with clothes. Simply drag the item and drop it on the avatar. Here you can see the overview shows that I'm wearing the full set of armour. If I close the inventory, you can see this on my avatar. Ready for action. To take off the armour, again exactly the same, simply click until it grabs and pull the armour off. We now need to set up the mining equipment we just purchased so that we have keyboard shortcuts for it. Press L to bring up the editing system and G to bring up the keyboard. We now need to select the Tools section in the inventory screen. This now shows us our tools. I'm going to assign these tools, first the detector to slot 9, which is the last box on this quick bar. And I'm going to set up the extractor to slot 0. Now that puts a new box here, but this is no problem. Simply drag the item out. You can see it's already found its keyboard shortcut from down here. To move this box, instead of clicking on the center icon, we click in the border around it and drag. By overlapping the next box along slightly, the new box will automatically align next to it, like so. Now our keyboard shortcuts are set up for the new mining equipment. Press L to come out of editing mode and G to close the keyboard. We're ready to go. Now I'm out of the town and into the wilderness, we can start to mine. To do this, we need to select our detector. I'm going to press 9, which the detector is mapped to bring it up. Here we can see again the equipment status panel, and it's telling me I've got 100 probes left. To activate this, I can either press 9, or if I stay in locked mode, I simply press the left mouse button to trigger it. There goes the probe. Now here's the searcher. It says no resources found, so I need to run along a bit more. Get a good distance away from that last mine. Force probe. And drop another. Sometimes it can take a while to find any resources. It's simply just a case of running along and dropping yet more probes. Here I've found a claim and I need to just run to it. The detector gives a rough estimation of where the claim actually is. If I right click on the deed which I've looted, it tells me the loot is a tiny size and it's of melty water. It also tells me how long I've got to loot or extract all of the resource. Now that I'm at the claim marker and I've dragged off the stub, I can now select my extractor. Now I've primed the extractor, I can click on it again, and this starts drawing out the resource. Here you can see the resource I've looted. Keep repeating the action until you've claimed everything in that mine. Select the detector again and repeat the process. It's important to note your position and make sure you don't stray into dangerous areas or too far from a teleport. This could leave you stranded if you're attacked by a monster that's far above your ability. I've now completed my mining session. Here you can see I have no probes left. Let's check my inventory and see what resources I've managed to mine. Here you can see various items like crude oil, growth molecules, force nexus, gas and grease, and melty water. Along the way I had to kill a few of the creatures, so I've got some creature loots also. You must now assess how much profit or loss you've made I find it handy to do the creature loots and mining loots separately. Items that you mine are pretty much all used in crafting processes, and therefore every item you mine has a markup value. So it's not wise to dump these items into the trade terminal. It's often handy to use the trade terminal to understand how much TT value in total you've mined. This gives a good estimation as to the TT value against the value of probes that you bought in the first place. Do try and calculate your market value on top of this. As well as selling your items to other avatars for a markup value, you may also sell them with the auctioneer. You must beware that when selling items in auction there are fees attached. So be careful to note how much it's going to cost you to actually list an item against how much profit you're going to make with the markup. Here is where resources that are mined get listed. These are ores, and these are energy matter. The auction can give a rough estimate as to how much value certain resources have, but I refer you back to the online resources that I mentioned in earlier guides. To sell an item, simply click on the sell button. This pulls up our inventory. You can then drag the item that you want to sell into the auction item window. Automatically rounded to the nearest PED is the TT value, which you can then place a markup value on by simply using the arrows for each digit. Here you can see the percentage on top. Items that aren't stackable are typically labelled as TT plus, as in the value, whereas stackable items, such as these growth molecules, are calculated on a percentage basis. Here you can set the number of days for the auction, and down here you can set the buyout price, which automatically gets listed at the startup price. Once you've set up your auction as how you want it, you simply press the accept button. I'm not going to place this item on auction because it won't sell for this value. The amount of the item I have is pretty much too small to place in auction, so I'm going to have to sell this in the open market by, say, the TP. By pressing back, I can cancel out of this. After a time, your inventory is going to become rather full. There's no need to worry about this though, as there is the ability to store items in a storage box. Storage boxes can be found in many of the service centres or shop containers. Unfortunately this one doesn't have one, so I'm going to have to take a small run to the deluxe service centre. I'm now in the deluxe service centre, and here you can see the storage facility. As with all the other terminals, simply right-click to access the storage. Here we're now presented with the standard inventory screen, and now also the storage space. Here you can see some of the sweat and dung I managed to obtain earlier. As with everything else, it's simply a case of just picking up and grabbing the item and dropping them into the storage. When you've been mining and you've collected a number of resources, you may find you don't have quantities that will sell well. In this instance, it would be a good idea to just simply store the item, do some more mining, and wait until you have a greater number of that item with which to sell. Alternatively, you may want to keep the items yourself, refine them, and use them in crafting processes. It's often handy to take a refiner with you when you go mining. As the number of resources you obtain increases, your weight also increases. When you refine items such as oil, they reduce in weight, allowing you to stay out and running faster for longer. Refiners can be found in the trade terminal. Simply navigate to Tools and then Manufacturing. Here you can find the Mineral Refiner for ores, the Energy Refiner for end matter, and the Tailoring Refiner for animal hides and wools. I'm going to refine this oil as I want to use it in a manufacturing process later. I simply drag the energy refiner, as this is an end matter, into the item purchase box, drag in my PED card and pay for the item. If you're going to use a refiner out in the field, it's wise to map the key to it. For now, I'm just simply going to put this onto my avatar to equip it. To use the item, I'm simply going to go into aim mode by pressing spacebar and clicking on the left mouse button to operate the device. Here you can see this has brought the refining process up. I simply drag in the oil and click refine. It's now showing me the box saying I've refined 588 units of oil. This oil is now ready for processing in the manufacturing. I can click exit on the refiner. This brings me back to my avatar. And now I can unequip the item by simply dragging it off again. You've now successfully gone through the mining process and understood some of the elements to mining, refining and crafting.